Anindo, I can't thank you enough for being on the CEO Global Network podcast today. It's great to see you again.
Great to see you too, John.
Yeah, looking forward to our conversation. I just want to let everybody know that you are the CEO of Alibris, an industry leading independent e commerce marketplace for books and related products. And you've been there, you've been there quite some time now, Anindo, haven't you? You've been there, over 8 years, I guess, eh?
Yes, coming on to 8.5 years now.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the first question I want to ask you is, what are the biggest challenges that you've faced scaling Alibris? Because I know you've really scaled the company while you've been there, and you've really scaled it globally. What were the biggest challenges?
I think one of the biggest challenges we've always faced with is supply chain, because as a global business, we're always looking for the fastest and most efficient way of getting books across to customers around the world. And sometimes the workflows that were designed 28 years ago, and that's how old Alibris is as a company, those were designed in a different era. And now customers want it and they're used to getting books instantaneously almost. For instance, in the old workflow, you had a book ordered from Australia, from a customer's Australia, it was shipped back to the US, turned around, and then shipped back to the customer in Australia. That was like the standard workflow with many e-commerce marketplaces around the world. So we've had to change a lot of programming to accommodate the more direct approach. We're still working on that. So that can be very, it's one of the biggest challenges we face by far.
Well, that's very interesting. Now, how do you see the role of AI and automation in general evolving in the book retail and publishing sectors?
I think there's been a lot of conversation about AI's automation in the back end with finance teams and operation teams. To me, AI is more of a revenue generator enabler. It's a front end operation that I'm looking at making it more efficient. Search is the biggest part of that. A book has to be searched, content has to be searched efficiently in a super fast way so that customers are able to get the kind of product that they want to buy. I think AI has a very strong play in that, and you're seeing a lot of that in how ChatGPT is taking over search from, say, Google search, for instance. All of this has a very important role to play for us in revenue generation.
Yeah, well, that's very interesting. And what has been the biggest challenge for you in Indo in managing operations across continents in different countries?
Well, I mean, I was stuck in India during COVID for about a year and a half, managing Alibris across continents and oceans. The
Wow.
biggest challenge was our lease expired in two of our facilities. I mean, in our main office in Emeryville in San Francisco, and also in our warehouse in Reno. And I had to just sit back and let my team work it out, because that was super frustrating. It's a physical thing. We're used to the physical world, and here I was sitting virtually and trying to manage lease contracts, all of it. Thankfully, my team is highly experienced. My CFO took over, my warehouse operations manager took over, my engineering head took over things. So they worked out very well. And that's where experienced teams are so important. They took responsibility where I could not contribute. And that was frustrating.
Yeah, no, that would be very frustrating, but good for you for having a great team with you, right? And pulling through during a time like that. That'd be very challenging.
Yeah, the average term for employees in my team is about 15 years.
Wow, that's awesome.
The oldest employee has been around for 30 years. So everyone is super experienced in my team and they continue to work. That's how we build efficiency. So one person is able to do the work of four people, really. I mean, and that's what I've observed.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's the value of having the eight players, right? Absolutely. They're worth four, right? Now, how do you balance profitability in Indo with innovation and customer experience at Alibris?
Our biggest priority always is customer experience. That itself, because the customer generates revenues for us. And as long as I'm able to respond to customer queries, and assist customers in getting their product quickly and efficiently, I know our revenues are assured. And that's what we focus on. So profitability is a derivative of the customer experience. We have a live team in India that manages level one customer experience for Alibris. And then the escalation point comes to level 2 in the US. So we have 24/7, 365 support. And we have fabulous ratings on SiteJabber, for instance, at about 4.7 stars out of 5. All of that really means that customers tend to be happy with us, and therein lies the profitability part as well. If they're getting books super fast, that's a profitable way of getting revenues generated.
Yeah, that's great, great counsel for really any business, isn't it? I mean, it starts and ends with the customer, doesn't it? Huh?
Right, always.
Yeah, always. Yeah, no question. Now, what partnerships or technologies are you most excited about as you look into the future of e-commerce? What really excites you about the future in terms of the technologies and partnerships?
I think there's a subtle shift in how AI is becoming more important in terms of search. And this is what I mentioned earlier as well, is that how people are, and I read an article this morning on LinkedIn, is that this person said his 80-year-old mother first goes to ChatGPT to search for books, and then she goes to Google search. So slowly and steadily, we're seeing ChatGPT and others like Grok taking over search, and that's a dangerous play for Google, for instance. They have their own solutions, but it's just Google used to be a household name before as technology, and Google Shopping used to be the be-all, end-all for most of shopping online that happens outside of Amazon. Now, ChatGPT is gradually taking over. So we're seeing that shift. I'm more excited about that shift versus the shift in shopping in places like on Instagram or on TikTok. Those are more driven by influencers, so they're more personality driven. It's harder to control that, but ChatGPT is more organic and it's much more technical. So that helps us push forward that technology much more aggressively.
That's very interesting. I got one last question for you, Anindo, and then we'll wrap up, okay? And how do you foster a strong, inclusive workplace culture in such a globally distributed team?
I have a very diverse team, and it'll be politically incorrect for me to actually mention the level of diversity here, but I have a small team, incredibly diverse across gender, color, religion, community. Inclusiveness is super important to me. Decisions are made by the team, and it's like a pyramid. So my decisions are not solely my own. My team, my management team helps me make those decisions. In turn, their teams, who are also a very diverse group, they are then encouraged to make decisions on behalf of each manager. And to me, that pyramid is super important because what it drives is it drives ownership. And so when I require, or Alibris requires a certain task to be completed, the whole team comes together to own that task. And they are responsible for timelines and everything else. So to me, that is the reason why we are, succeeding, in my opinion, in this space, in a space where we're fighting daily against the giants of the business like Amazon. And yet we're trying to make sure that the company stays relevant and the company is able to supply the product that customers need. So to me, that part, that inclusive decision-making process, that is super, super important.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. And Anindo, I can't thank you enough for being with us on this CEO Global Network podcast. I mean, you are a very successful CEO running a very successful, interesting business. And having you with us for these minutes to share some of your experiences with us is very much appreciated. So thank you very much.
Pleasure is mine, John, and thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no, this was great. Thank you.